The Volkswagen is all set to close its Dresden vehicle manufacturing plant this week, and it marks the first time in the carmaker's 88-year-long history.
Volkswagen just announced it's closing factories for the first time in 87 years of history. Not because of war, not because of a financial crisis, but because a $9,700 electric car is outselling the Golf in the world's largest auto market. $9,700. That's the price of a top-tier iPhone Pro Max. Full touchscreen, fast charging, 405 kilometers of range, 5-star safety rating. And here's what I'm going to show you at the end of this video. The real cost to manufacture a car. The number that no automaker in Stuttgart, Munich, or Detroit ever wants you to see. When you see that number, you will never look at a car price sticker the same way again. But first, I need you to answer honestly, right now in the comments. Do you believe a fully featured electric car can actually sell for the price of an iPhone? Type impossible if you think. This is just cheap Chinese marketing. Type already happening if you saw this coming. Either answer proves something I'm going to explain right now. Let's be clear about what this car actually is, because the first thing people do when they hear $9,700 is assume it's some gutted, unsafe tin box built for unpaved roads in rural provinces. That assumption is exactly what German automakers are counting on. The BYD Seagull scored 5 stars in Chinese crash testing. It has a 10.1-inch touchscreen. It supports over-the-air software updates. It does 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 7 seconds in its performance trim. Independent reviewers who got their hands on it reported build quality that was, quote, competitive with entry-level European hatchbacks. Not a knockoff, not a compromise, a legitimate car. Now compare that to the Volkswagen Polo, Europe's best-selling small car for decades. No electric range, a 6.5-inch screen as standard. Starting price in Germany, 22,000 euros. Same segment, same buyer, completely different universe of value. When that comparison video hit Reddit, it didn't just go viral. It triggered panic. VW executives in Wolfsburg called emergency meetings. That's not a rumor. That's documented in internal communications leaked to German press. And here's the part nobody is saying out loud. This wasn't BYD going all out. The Seagull is their entry-level product, their budget line, the car they built for first-time buyers in smaller Chinese cities. They weren't even trying to humiliate Volkswagen. They just did it anyway. Here's what nobody tells you about why German cars cost what they cost. For 40 years, the German auto industry ran the most profitable protection racket in manufacturing history, and they did it completely legally. It worked like this. You build a reputation for engineering excellence. And to be fair, in the 1980s and 90s, that reputation was earned. You use that reputation to justify premium pricing. You lock in a dealer network that adds another 8 to 12% markup on every transaction. You lobby governments to maintain emissions regulations calibrated specifically to your existing engine technology. And you make sure every new model looks just different enough from the last one to justify a price increase, while sharing 60 to 70% of its components underneath. The result? The average price of a new car in the United States increased 220% over the past 20 years. Real wages over that same period increased less than 18%. You are not buying a better car. You are buying the same car with a bigger screen and a higher price tag justified by brand mythology. The numbers inside a Volkswagen Golf are damning. Actual production cost, $12,000 to $14,000. US retail price, $28,000 to $35,000. That $14,000 to $21,000 gap is not engineering. It is not quality. It is 47 separate suppliers, each taking their margin, a dealer network protecting its territory, and a brand premium built on decades of advertising. And then came Dieselgate. In 2015, Volkswagen was caught deliberately programming 11 million cars worldwide to cheat emissions tests. They paid $33 billion in fines and settlements, the largest corporate scandal in automotive history. You would think that would force a reckoning. It didn't. Car prices went up anyway because the system protected itself. One VW owner on a German forum wrote, "I paid $32,000 for a metal box running fraud software, and they still want me to feel grateful for the brand." That comment got 47,000 upvotes. People knew. They just had no alternative. Until now. In 2003, BYD was a company making AA batteries, rechargeable cells for Kodak cameras, and Nokia phones. Nobody in Detroit or Stuttgart looked at them and felt threatened. That was the first mistake. Here's what BYD actually did over the next 20 years. While the German auto industry was busy protecting its margins, they studied the entire supply chain of car manufacturing, the way a chess grandmaster studies an opponent's game history, looking for every single point of inefficiency, every middleman, every markup, every inherited assumption that existed only because nobody had ever questioned it. And they found 3 weapons that Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz structurally could not match. Weapon 1. Complete vertical integration. BYD manufactures its own battery cells, its own electric motors, its own power management chips, its own vehicle software. Not outsourced, not licensed, built in-house. Volkswagen depends on 47 independent suppliers for major components. Every one of those suppliers has a profit margin. Every one of those margins gets passed to you. BYD eliminated that entire layer. Weapon 2. Blade battery technology. BYD's proprietary battery design reduces production cost per kilowatt hour to approximately $58. CATL, the world's largest battery supplier, produces at around $67. LG Energy Solution, which supplies GM and Hyundai, produces at around $78. That gap translates directly into the price difference you see on the sticker. No Western manufacturer is close to that number. Weapon 3. Zero legacy cost. Volkswagen employs roughly 120,000 workers in Germany alone. Tens of thousands of them work on internal combustion engine production, engines that are now obsolete. VW cannot simply shut those lines down. The union agreements, the political pressure, the sunk investment in tooling. It's billions of dollars of handcuffs. BYD never built a gas engine factory. They have nothing to protect, nothing to unwind, nothing to apologize for. The analogy that keeps coming up in automotive analysis circles is Blockbuster versus Netflix. Blockbuster wasn't stupid. They were just too invested in the model that made them successful to destroy it themselves. In 2023, BYD overtook Volkswagen Group in global electric vehicle sales. In 2024, BYD sold more cars than Mercedes-Benz in Germany's own home market. That last sentence should be read twice. Let's put the actual specifications side by side, because until you see this in black and white, your brain will keep telling you, there must be a catch. BYD Seago, 405 kilometers of rated range, charges from 10 to 80% in approximately 30 minutes. On DC fast charging, 10.1-inch rotating touchscreen, 5-star safety rating, over-the-air software updates, available in multiple color options, full suite of driver assistance features. Price in China, $9,700. Volkswagen Polo, no electric range, 0 kilometers, 6.5-inch screen as standard, no OTA updates, basic driver assistance only. Price in Germany, 22,000 euros. When 3 independent automotive journalists from Germany, the UK, and Australia tested the Seagull without knowing the price beforehand, all 3 rated it as competitive with European entry-level hatchbacks on build quality. One wrote, if you put a VW badge on this car and sold it for 19,000 euros, European buyers would queue around the block. That quote circulated through the automotive press for weeks. But here's what makes this even more uncomfortable for the German industry. This is the number I promised you at the beginning. Here is what it actually costs to build a BYD Seagull. Battery pack at current BYD production cost, approximately $2,100. Electric motor and drivetrain, approximately $400. Chassis, body panels, and structural components, approximately $800. Electronics, screens, and sensors, approximately $600. Assembly, labor, and factory overhead, approximately $300. Total estimated production cost, $4,800 to $5,200. BYD sells it for $9,700. They are making money on every single unit. Now run the same math on a Volkswagen Golf. Estimated production cost, $12,000 to $14,000. US retail price, $28,000 to $35,000. The difference between those two numbers, the $10,000 to $21,000 gap, is not engineering precision. It is not superior safety. It is not better technology. It is brand premium, dealer margin, supply chain inefficiency, and 40 years of customers having no other choice. You were not paying for quality. You were paying for the absence of competition. That absence just ended. September 2024, Volkswagen announces it will close at least 3 manufacturing plants in Germany. The first factory closures in the company's 87-year history. 35,000 workers facing potential job losses. Not because the economy collapsed, because VW's largest single market, China, is evaporating under their feet. VW China sales dropped 34% over 2 years. The reason is brutally simple. Chinese consumers stopped buying German cars, not because German cars got worse, because Chinese cars got dramatically better, while costing dramatically less. Meanwhile, VW is burning through approximately $1.5 billion per quarter, maintaining operations while attempting to transition to electric vehicles. A transition they started too late, using a legacy corporate structure built for a different era. The CEO of Volkswagen, Oliver Blume, told shareholders in October 2024 that the company faces the most difficult restructuring in its history. That's a direct quote from the man running the company. He's not exaggerating. When you can't win on product, you fight on politics. The German auto lobby, one of the most powerful industrial lobbying forces in European history, went to work. October 2024, the European Union imposed additional tariffs of up to 45% on Chinese electric vehicles. Germany actually voted against the measure because VW, BMW, and Mercedes feared Chinese retaliation against their own sales in China. Think about that. The German government was lobbied by its own car companies to vote against protecting those same companies. That is how conflicted and compromised the situation had become. And here is why the tariff wall won't work anyway. Even with 45% additional tariffs applied, a BYD Seagull imported into Europe would retail at approximately 14,000 to 15,000 euros. The Volkswagen Polo still costs 22,000 euros. The tariff slowed BYD down. It did not stop them. It did not make German cars competitive. It just bought time. Time that the German industry is not using efficiently. Remember the curiosity gap from the beginning of this video. Why German automakers are terrified, even after building a tariff wall. Because of what I'm about to show you next. Price is what gets the headlines. But the thing keeping automotive executives awake at 3 in the morning isn't the $9,700 sticker. It's the software. BYD's driver assistance system, called DiPilot, receives over-the-air updates every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, the car gets measurably smarter. New features, improved performance, bug fixes, capability additions. Volkswagen's software division, ID Software, has been a documented disaster. The rollout of VW's ID.3 electric car was delayed by over a year specifically due to software failures. When it finally launched, it shipped with critical features simply missing and had to be recalled multiple times for software patches. The structural reason for this gap is not talent, it's architecture. Volkswagen's software development process involves legacy IT systems, multiple internal divisions that don't communicate efficiently, and a regulatory approval process for each update that takes months. BYD built its software infrastructure from scratch, designed for rapid iteration from day one. And here's the compounding effect that makes this a 10-year problem for Germany. BYD currently has approximately 9 million connected vehicles, collecting real-world driving data. That data trains their AI systems, collision avoidance, route optimization, battery management, predictive maintenance. Volkswagen has approximately 2 million electric vehicles on the road. Every day that gap exists, BYD's AI gets better, faster. The car you buy from BYD in 2027 will be meaningfully smarter than the one sold today. The Volkswagen you buy in 2027 will run software that was designed in 2023. Here is where this stops being a China story and starts being your story. BYD currently sells vehicles in 96 countries. That number is up from 53 countries 2 years ago. They are not expanding cautiously. They are moving with the urgency of a company that knows its window of maximum advantage is right now, before legacy manufacturers finish restructuring. The Hungary factory, currently under construction, is scheduled to begin production in the third quarter of 2026. When that facility goes online, BYD will be manufacturing cars inside the European Union, which means the 45% tariff becomes zero, which means a BYD vehicle produced in Hungary with European safety certification, carrying a European warranty will hit dealerships at 14,000 to 16,000 euros, against a Volkswagen Polo at 22,000 euros. European dealers understand what's coming. Distribution agreements for BYD in Germany, France, the Netherlands, and Spain are being signed right now. The tariff wall did not stop BYD. It taught BYD exactly how to become a European car company. This is not speculation. Every data point in this video is traceable to public filings, documented reporting, or independently verified market data. The reaction from the actual market tells the story most clearly. On motortalk.de, Germany's largest automotive enthusiast forum, a thread titled BYD Seagull versus VW Polo Honest Comparison generated 2,400 comments within 48 hours of posting. The dominant sentiment from existing VW owners was not defensive, it was exhausted. The most upvoted comment? I cannot justify this price difference to my wife anymore. I've tried. Ferdinand Dudenhofer, the most cited independent automotive analyst in Europe, professor at the University of St. Gallen, stated publicly in November 2024 that Volkswagen would need to cut production costs by 40% to be structurally competitive with BYD at current trajectory. His assessment? That is not achievable within the existing corporate and union framework. The financial markets agree. Volkswagen AG shares declined 45% over the course of 2024, the steepest single-year decline since the Dieselgate scandal in 2015. The market is pricing in Guancha, a structural, not cyclical problem. In Norway, the country, with the highest electric vehicle penetration rate on Earth, Guancha, at over 90% of new car sales, BYD grew. Market share from essentially 0% in 2022, Guancha, to 8.3% in 2024 over the same Guancha period. Volkswagen Group's Norwegian market share fell from 24% to 17%. And the ownership cost analysis that no Guancha car commercial will ever show you. Total 5-year cost of 19. Owning a BYD Seagull, including purchase price, electricity, insurance, baseline, Guancha, and maintenance, approximately $18,000. Total 5-year cost of owning a comparable Volkswagen Polo, including purchase, fuel, insurance, baseline, and maintenance, approximately $41,000. Same 5 Guancha years, same basic transportation need, $23,000 difference. Guancha. The question is not whether Chinese cars are coming to your market. They are already there, or they are one supply chain decision away from being there. The question you need to ask yourself right now is this. Are you about to spend $30,000 on a car whose replacement, better in every measurable way, will be available for $15,000 within 24 months? Because that is the actual situation. The BYD Hungary plant comes online in the third quarter of 2026. From that point forward, the tariff argument is gone. The "it's not made locally" argument is gone. The warranty concern is gone. What remains is a $16,000 car competing directly against a $22,000 car in the same showroom ecosystem. Every legacy automaker selling internal combustion or hybrid vehicles in the $25,000 to $45,000 mass market segment is currently on a countdown clock. Smart consumers are already asking the question. Dealerships know it. That is why right now, today, dealers are pushing hard to move existing inventory, models designed in 2021, built on platforms from 2018, priced as. If none of this is happening, the transition will not be gradual. Markets don't transition gradually when the price-to-value gap reaches this magnitude. They tip. Now, here's what I want to know from you. Would you buy a $16,000 electric car, built in Europe, warranted, in Europe, independently safety certified, if it carried a Chinese brand name? Type yes or no in the comments and give me one real reason either way. I read every single one. In the next video, I'm going to break down the complete real cost of owning a car over 5 years. Every fee, every markup, every hidden charge that dealers count on you never calculating. The number will make you rethink every car purchase you've ever made.